Welcome back to the King of Diamonds channel, where today we're going to be talking about a very strange, interesting, and older film. A retrospective review. A retrospective review of Beetlejuice, the movie. Got my 20th anniversary Blu-ray release of the movie. I also got my Beetlejuice mug. And around my room there's some Beetlejuice posters. I have one of the movie. I've got a picture of Beetlejuice. I've got a picture of Lydia Dietz. You can't see any of those. So I'm ready and raring for a Beetlejuice retrospective review, talking about why this movie is actually amazing. If you don't know me, which you don't because I'm some random guy on the internet, I'm a spooky little guy. I like gothic stuff. I like dark, edgy, brooding stuff because I'm a dark, edgy, brooding guy. Long, long ago, in a galaxy far, far away. Wrong one, sorry. Once upon a time, there was a twisted genius named Tim Burton. And this Tim Burton decided, hey, wouldn't it be really cool if I made a scary, spooky movie that was really, really funny at the same time and wasn't actually scary at all? Well, that's how Beetlejuice came to be. Starring Alec Baldwin, Gina Davis, Michael Keaton, and Winona Ryder. Truly an experience for your eyes to behold. 'Tis said that if you were to say Beetlejuice's name 3 times, he would suddenly appear. Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice. It was worth a try. But yeah, this movie is a favorite of mine, that is for sure. Oh, the memories. I remember when I first turned on the movie for the very first time and I looked at Beetlejuice and Winona Ryder and I thought, hey, I want to look like that. Basically, the plot of Beetlejuice is there is a couple called the Maitlands. They're married and they're happy, but they want to have children, but they can't because of implied reasons that they just simply are having trouble. But they decide, hey, let's try again. Of course, they don't get a chance to try again because they die. They go for a little joyride and they plummet off of a bridge into a river. They wake up and find themselves drenched in water and back in their house and no memory of why or how they got back. And then they see a little book on the table that says Handbook for the Recently Deceased, and suddenly they think, hey, I think we're dead right now. And they have no idea what to do, who to talk to, or where they are, really. Not long after they figure out they're dead, a new family move in. The Dietz family. They don't really take well to the Dietzes as they find that they are not like them, other than this little girl named Lydia Dietz. They are sort of changing their house around and making it look like modern art, opposed to the nice, quaint home that they had before and were very happy with. The little girl, Lydia Dietz, turns out to be capable of seeing the ghosts. They converse for a while and they talk about it and they explain to her that they are very much dead. They ask for help and Lydia talks about how she actually wishes she was dead because she's depressed. Anyway, the Maitlands and Lydia Dietz gain a little bit of a bond together and they find that they actually like each other quite a lot and are fine with the existing correspondingly. They just don't like Lydia's father and extremely weirdly artistic and eccentric stepmother. So they lock themselves up in the attic and go read the Handbook for the Recently Deceased, which reads like stereo instructions, and they follow these instructions and try to enter the Netherworld. Once they get to the Netherworld, they meet their new caseworker Juno, who they complain to, saying that they don't like the people that they're living with and they want to get rid of them. To which Juno just says, "You're ghosts. Go scare them out of the house." They try to scare them, they fail to scare them, and that's when they hear about a bio-exorcist demon named Beetlejuice. He'll help them scare out anyone they want as long as they say his name 3 times and help him escape this model of the town they live in that he is stuck in for some reason. They say no after finding out that he is a total creep and a weirdo. They decide, hey, you know what, let's just try harder to scare them. So they do, they fail, and Beetlejuice decides to take control of the situation, turning into a giant snake monster. Beetlejuice turning into this giant snake monster scares Lydia off, and Lydia thinks that it's actually the Maitlands doing this. She then proceeds to write a goodbye letter. She's unsatisfied with the way she writes her goodbye letter and decides to go for a little stroll where she meets Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice tries to coerce her into saying his name 3 times, to which point she almost does until the Maitlands stop them. After that, they decide that they want to try one last time to scare everyone out of the house. They almost do so. They do a really great job, but unfortunately everyone who they tried to scare actually thought it was awesome and really fun, and they decide to turn the house into an attraction of sorts. The adults want to talk to the ghost don't want to talk to the adults, and so the adults, in an attempt to speak with the ghost, perform a seance which goes very, very wrong and almost kills the Maitlands, not before Lydia quickly runs to Beetlejuice and asks him for help. He agrees to do so as long as she agrees to marry him, which for some reason apparently makes it so that he can get out permanently. Beetlejuice does a wonderful job of freeing the Maitlands, but it also means that now he is in control, and they have to stop Beetlejuice from marrying the 17-year-old girl. They of course put up a great fight and succeed, and so Beetlejuice is defeated and they all live happily ever after. And that is Beetlejuice's plot, and wow, it is a very wild roller coaster of a movie. It is such a unique film. You know, when I was younger and I saw it for the first time, I remember just being absolutely amazed. It was the first movie like that I had seen. Like, I had been introduced to Tim Burton before because I watched things like Alice in Wonderland, and of course Charlie and the Chocolate Factory remake, where I remember I really loved, you know, the whole vibe of those movies as a kid. But when I saw Beetlejuice for the first time, it was like a whole new thing, because it was like, this was deep within the Tim Burton-ness of it. And of course, it was a fantastic movie that I adored at the time. And I just remember looking at it and thinking, wow, what if I just turned my whole bedroom into a Tim Burton themed bedroom and started dressing like Tim Burton characters and based my whole personality around Tim Burton stuff. But yeah, this movie, of course, at the time was really, really strange when it released in the late 80s, and it faced a lot of backlash. A lot of people thought it was a really weird movie, and it got a lot of bad reviews, but later on in its life, it gained a cult following, and nowadays it's considered to be a sort of cult classic, basically, especially due to the success of the recent sequel that came out only last year, Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice is a classic to me. I think it's hilarious. One of the things I love about this movie is the humor. I've never been a big fan of horror movies because I can't really stand that sort of stuff, and I can't take too much scary stuff. But something I love about Tim Burton's style that is really particularly present in this movie is the blend between a dark aesthetic but a really light-hearted tone in terms of like the characters and the things happening. The movie doesn't take itself seriously, it's very jokey, and those jokes are really funny. Not to mention the fact that the characters themselves are just fantastic. It's funny because the Maitlands are the main characters of the movie, but the thing that everyone remembers is Beetlejuice and Lydia, because one, they stand out the most because they got amazing costumes. Two, they're the most lively, or like unlively technically, of the whole cast, and they have the most talented actors out of all of them. Winona Ryder and Michael Keaton in the same movie. Where can you go wrong? Also, I believe Michael Keaton actually improvised a lot of, if not most of, his scenes in this movie, which is fantastic. Another thing is the way the movie looks aesthetically. The practical effects are just fantastic. The stop motion animation on the sandworms in itself is just perfect. And Beetlejuice himself has an amazing costume, not just the one he wears throughout most of the movie with the stripes, but also the wedding outfit, which Michael Keaton himself actually believes to be the definitive Beetlejuice costume. The wedding outfit is pretty damn awesome. It looks great, the beautiful rich colors, and I love how in this movie, even though it is a dark aesthetic, it does not shy away from being colorful. Everything is so vibrant and saturated. The Netherworld set is incredible with the weird curvy rooms and the hallways that are all messed up and diagonal and stuff, and this weird strangely avant-garde artwork style. Also, the characters in the waiting room are iconic. Just the way that everyone, the way they died is now how they permanently look. Like their physical appearance is based on the way that they passed away. It's literally just a crazy avant-garde gothic roller coaster that just keeps pumping out more jokes and more cool scenes and more cool aesthetically pleasing moments and amazing lines. The dialogue in this movie, there's so many quotable lines in this film. My whole life is a dark room. One big dark room. But yeah, I just find that this film is so unique in the way it's stylized, and I just don't think that it's ever going to be a film that people will forget about. This movie is such a standout film that you could wait 200 years and someone is still going to know about its existence because it's just that memorable. And I feel like it's going to be one of those things that just gains more and more fans as it slowly gets older, because the people at the time of its release didn't appreciate it that much. I mean, there was probably people that did, but it got so many bad reviews, and Look, I understand why. The culture at the time probably thought it was really strange and didn't like it, but nowadays, it's quite loved. Beetlejuice is truly one of my favorite movies of all time. But yeah, Beetlejuice is a movie, and it does exist, and you can watch it. Anyway, bye!